Welcome to Grain by Grain Artist Stories. You are my second guest. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so honoured. Thanks for having me.
So first we're going to start off with an icebreaker. Between bread, rice, and noodles, what would you kiss, marry, or kill?
Oh, I would definitely marry rice because I love rice. I have to have rice every day. But I also love bread and noodles. It's really hard. I love carbs.
Carbs are so good.
I think I would kiss noodles
Okay.
and kill bread. I'm sorry. I love bread, but I also
Love noodles. Wait, but today when we went out, you didn't eat noodles, or you didn't want to eat noodles. So
I really like certain types of noodles. Like I really like pho and like Taiwanese beef noodles.
Oh, yum. First question. Tell me about your journey as an artist.
So I think I always loved art. So when I was a child, I did a lot of like anime drawings, like classic
Really?
Sailor Moon. I loved Sailor Moon and like drawing magical girls.
You still draw that now.
I still do.
Yeah.
But I sort of stopped like towards high school, uni. I still like to do like creative things, but I didn't do art as much. It was sort of during COVID that I picked it up again. And at the same time, I like got TikTok because it was kind of booming in COVID.
Yeah.
So I was just like posting some of my paintings and my drawings during that time. And they did like a lot better than I thought.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool. That's kind of how I started my like art social media.
Yeah.
And then I just continued to try and like do different types of mediums and different types of art. And somehow got to where I am now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you said you started drawing as a kid.
Yeah.
So did you take any formal art lessons, or were you just like scribbling away by yourself? Like,
I would do a lot of scribbling by myself. I did do some art lessons with like the local art teacher. So in Canberra, I grew up in Canberra. There was one art teacher that a lot of the Chinese community sent their kids for like after school caring, that kind of stuff. I wasn't that good of a student though, because I didn't really like painting the things that she told me to paint, you know, like fruit bowls and stuff.
The classic.
Yeah, so I don't think she was like that happy with me. I wasn't that good of an art student, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then because of that, I never took art classes because I was like, I just want to draw what I want to draw, you know, I don't want to draw fruit bowls, which I regret a little bit. Probably would have been good to have some more formal art education, but I'm trying to learn and do a bit more of that like classic art, like color theory and learning about art history now.
Yeah. That's crazy. So you've never done formal training for watercolor? Is that correct?
No, yeah, that's just something I picked up, just for fun, because I liked seeing like other people do watercolor on Instagram. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just give it a go and try to figure it out myself, read stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's actually crazy, because from like when I look at your art, I was like, this girl's surely formally trained.
No,
actually, I can't believe this was all self-taught.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like watercolor, it's actually really hard to pick up the techniques. Like the whole like blending technique and like capturing like what's in front of you with watercolor, especially something that's so like in the moment, because I feel like once you do something with watercolor, like that's it.
Yeah.
There's no like double tap going back, right? Like I feel like with acrylic, at least you can layer on more stuff. Like if you painted the wrong color, you can layer something on top. The watercolor is like in that moment, whatever happens, happens. So it's so crazy to hear that you actually picked it up yourself. Wow.
It took like a lot of trial and error. Like some of my early stuff, looking back, was really bad. So
it
was definitely like a slow learning process. And I think we're so lucky to have so many resources through like social media and the internet. So I think it's not too bad to like try and learn things yourself, as long as you're like being critical about your own art and not too critical. But like trying to learn and, you know, pick up things from other places.
Yeah. Okay. So how long would you say like you've been doing watercolor for?
About 4 years. Since 2020.
Okay. Yeah. And that was during COVID and stuff. Yeah. And so when you said you started social media and it did better than you thought, like how did you, because I know like you have quite a lot of followers on Instagram. How did you manage to grow your followers? Like, was it something that you pursued, or did it happen just organically? Like,
that's a good question. So I think a lot of it comes down to luck, to be honest. I think I was lucky because I started during COVID, and at that time a lot of people were online. And I started on TikTok, and at that time it was a bit easier to grow your reach at the time because it was such a new platform.
Yes.
So that's where I started off. I started off with TikTok, and then I grew my Instagram afterwards. To be honest, I feel like I still haven't quite figured out Instagram. Like sometimes things do way better than I expect, and sometimes things don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, it was more about improving my art and just posting the journey. And I think I'm really lucky to have people who joined and followed along. But yeah, I don't know if I know like how to grow your Instagram followers or anything.
Okay.
Because I've just had like random pieces go viral, like random reels go viral. I think that helped.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it was through that, and then partly as well, like my TikTok, maybe some people found me through there as well.
Okay, I actually didn't know you had a TikTok. I mean, I don't go on TikTok, so
yeah. I use it a little less now because I feel like I really like the Instagram, like being able to post pictures and stuff.
Yes.
But, yeah.
How did Lerennis come about? How did you choose that name?
Well, my name is Daisy,
Yes.
and I tried like every variation of Daisy on Instagram, and they were all taken. I was like, Daisy art, Daisy illustration, Daisy watercolor.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got the scientific name of Daisy, like the plant name, because I'm a bit of a science nerd, which is Bellis perennis, and then I picked up like letters from that. So like the Bellis, I took like the L, and then the Bellis perennis, I just like took half of that, and then that's how I got Lerennis. So it's still like kind of Daisy, but not quite.
That's actually so cool. I was always curious about that. I'm like, where did Lerennis come from? What does Lerennis even mean? But that's actually such a wonderful story.
Thanks. Yeah. I feel like it's takes a bit of my like STEM side and adds it to my art.
Yeah. Tell me more about your STEM side.
So I'm currently doing my PhD in infectious disease epidemiology.
Yeah.
So that's my full-time job. I really enjoy it. I think it's a different type of thinking to art, and you get to feel like you contribute to like science and to humanity, which is really cool. But yeah, I enjoy having like a mix of both, like STEM and art.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you explain what exactly do you do? Like,
yeah,
that name sounded so cool. Like, what is that?
It's pretty much epidemiology is like the study of like the pattern of disease and how it spreads in the population and just understanding that. And I look at infectious diseases specifically. So I'm looking at tuberculosis, which is it's one of like the key infectious diseases still around in the world. It's still one of the highest disease killers in the world for infectious diseases. And then my PhD is just trying to like understand how it is like spread in Australia and how we can, improve the public health response.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize that was still a problem in Australia.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I think in Australia we're luckier than most. Like we have a low incidence compared to other countries.
Yeah.
But it's still around, especially in the more marginalized populations.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So how do you balance like a PhD and like, because I know you work as well and you have your art stuff, like
very well.
What does your life look like?
I don't balance it very well, to be honest. I don't think I'm a shining example of healthy balance. I think I really like feeling productive, and I really like the sense of achievement that comes from both like art and then building a career. So this year I put a lot of energy into all of the different parts, which I feel like maybe I went too hard on. I feel like I did get a bit of burnout towards the end. So I think moving forward, I'll try to balance it a bit better. But for me, I think like art is a nice break from PhD stuff, and then also vice versa as well, just because it's like such a different way of expressing yourself and such a different way of thinking. Yeah. So I like to have both in my life.
Oh, that's really nice. So you still haven't answered my question. What does your day-to-day look like?
Oh, sorry.
No, not at all. I'm just like, I'm so curious because I know like you work like 2 days a week or something. Yeah. Tell me, what does your week look like?
So Mondays and Tuesdays I work in the National Science Agency. So I work at CSIRO, and then Wednesdays to Fridays, and sometimes on the weekend I do my PhD work. Art for me is definitely a weekend / after work kind of thing. So during the weekdays, if I have like a market to prepare for, or I have my shop open, I'll work on that on the weekdays in the evenings. And then on the weekends, I will pretty much try and get like a watercolor painting done on over like a weekend or 2 weekends. Like, you know, when the sun is up, so I can get some content filmed and things like that. Just like trying to coordinate it all.
Oh, wow. That's really productive. I feel like I can't finish an artwork that fast.
It's a bit tricky, yeah. I think usually it'll take like 2 weekends or something. But I prepare like for the artwork. Like I have it all sketched out. I have like the colors chosen before I begin on the watercolor as well.
Okay. So you say like you usually film the content on the weekend when the sun's out. Can you tell me a bit about your content filming process? What does that look like?
So I don't think I think I sort of do it a bit like whatever I feel like I just do. I just have like my painting set up on a table in like the natural light, because I think with watercolors the colors are pretty subtle, so it's hard to pick up in the camera. So definitely need that natural light. And then I have like a camera, like just my phone set up like above the painting on like a clip on the table. And then I'll just like, I'll just film while I'm painting segments, not all the time, because I feel like sometimes it stresses me out to have it like right above me and it gets in my way. But I'll just like film some segments here and there. You don't have to film too much because all of my videos are pretty short. I'll just like film some at the start, some in the middle, and some at the end. And then just like on the weekdays, I'll put it all together and post it.
Oh, nice. When you are drawing, what do you do? Like, do you listen to music or watch something in the background? Like, fully in the zone and just...
Bit of both. I feel like I do like to have some white noise going on in the background rather than silence. So sometimes I put on just like a comfort TV show, like one that I've seen like 10 times already, you know, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something. I'll just have it in the background. Sometimes I like watching YouTube videos of other artists because I feel like it's really comforting. So I'll watch like a Draw With Me video or something like that and just have it in the background. Otherwise, I've been recently listening to like podcasts and stuff because I feel like it's good because you don't have to look at it or anything. So that's anything.
Oh, nice. What podcasts have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a few that are like around science and nutrition because I really like learning about that, and like it's nice to incorporate into your everyday life. I've been listening to She's on the Money, which is like talking about finance stuff. And then sometimes I just like listening to like Reddit stories.
Reddit? Wait, there's a podcast on Reddit stories?
It's called like Two Hot Takes, and they're just, I don't know, it's because I started watching them on TikTok because they used to appear like, am I the asshole in this story? And then, so I started listening to them in a podcast form sometimes as well. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure, I think.
Oh my gosh, well, we all have those. No shame. How long do you usually draw, like, over the weekend? How long does it take?
It takes quite a long time, I think. It'll take up, like, my full day. Like, sometimes I'll get, like, so in the zone that I, like, forget to eat lunch or something.
Wow.
Yeah, like, once I start a painting, I get, like, really into it if it's going well. But the whole process itself takes a little while. Like, coming up with the idea is usually what takes the longest for me, and then coming up with a sketch where I like the composition and then playing around with the colors. Like sometimes I'll do that digitally beforehand.
So you can play around with like the colors and the
exactly. And it's easier to move things around and play around with it.
Sometimes, that's really smart.
Sometimes I'll just do like a sketch beforehand because like you said, watercolor, once you put down the paint, you can't go back on it.
Double tap.
So recently I have been trying to like plan a little bit better so that when I actually start painting, it goes a lot smoother and it's a lot less stressful. When I have it all like planned out, I know what colors I want and where like all the elements go.
Okay, so when you plan out your sketch digitally, is it fully sketched or do you only do the full sketch on paper?
A bit of both. I think it's just like whatever I feel like. Like sometimes I feel like I'll just do like a really rough like outline in Photoshop or something and then just block in colors. But a lot of the time I prefer the feel of like traditional art. I like
Yeah.
the feeling of like pen on paper. So then
Yeah.
a lot of the time I'll do the sketch on my like sketchbook and then I'll transfer it to like watercolor paper.
Yeah, okay. When you do your watercolor, do you ever have times when you're like, oh crap, like that wasn't right or that was a mistake? Like, how do you fix that? Or like, yeah.
All the time. I think watercolor, one of the good and bad things about it is like you don't really have like full control over it.
Yeah.
Which sometimes like things turn out as like happy accidents and you kind of just like lean into it and I'm like, yeah, okay. Sometimes I do try to fix it like just by putting like layers of more watercolor on top. And then sometimes I have just like scrapped an artwork if it hasn't turned out like how I want it. I think sometimes it's just worth it to start again.
Yeah, but then you have to do the sketch again. Do you ever try to trace it or do you just do the sketch again? Like...
Well, actually, sometimes I do like trace my sketch onto the watercolor paper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I found that if I'm sketching too much on watercolor paper and erasing too much, it damages the paper. Yeah. So I actually have like a light box. And you can like trace the sketch onto the like final, and then if you mess up you can just retrace it.
That's so smart, because sometimes I think about going back to watercolor, but it's so scary, the whole like you can't predict, and like what if you make a mistake, and also sketching as well. I was like, what if I just draw my sketch on my iPad and then I print it out on watercolor paper? I don't know, have you ever done that?
You can do that. You can probably even like trace directly through the iPad. To be honest.
I don't think so. I don't think the light is strong enough.
True. The paper's pretty thick.
Yeah, and also because the iPad's smaller than your traditional A4. I mean, you normally do like A4 watercolors, right?
Yeah, I usually do. Well,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Do you ever sell your original A4 artworks, or is it all just the prints that you sell?
So some people have asked if I sold the originals, and to be honest, I get really emotionally attached to the originals.
Yeah, that's so fair.
So I haven't sold most of them. I just keep them in a little box, which I feel like is sort of a waste. I feel like it probably would have been better if I sold it to someone and they appreciated it. But I do occasionally do like commissions where I paint for other people and then I give them the original watercolor as well.
Yeah. I know I asked you this before already, but how did you come about creating your style?
So I think style for me, it's such a word in the art community where it's like you have to develop your style and everyone has a specific style. For me, I kind of feel like I don't know if I have a very specific style in that I like to try a lot of different things. Like sometimes I like painting like landscapes and different mediums, and sometimes I like painting watercolor. Sometimes I like painting like cute animals, and then sometimes I like painting like something a bit more serious. So for me, I'm not sure if I have a very strong art style, but pretty much all I did was I just kept painting. I kept trying different things, kept trying different mediums, and then I do find that like I gravitate towards like certain color palettes or like certain like painting subjects more than others. And I think like style is constantly developing and everyone's like constantly improving. So I think I'm still finding my style. Okay. Maybe a lot of artists feel that way.
Yeah.
But I think just trying a lot of different things and then seeing what you gravitate towards.
Well, from my perspective, it looks like you do have a strong style. Because like when I see your artwork, I'm like, oh, I know that's Daisy's artwork.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's especially at art markets. You know, when you see people carrying stuff in their clear bags, I'm like, that's Daisy. I remember I used to see, I still do, like, you know your tiger tote bag? I see that like in every single market. I'll always see it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, it's Daisy's. Yeah. Speaking of markets, how did you get into them?
So my very first market was Mellow Market in Sydney.
Same.
Yeah. What is yours? What was that, 2023?
Last year. Yes.
Wow.
That was my first July.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right? Oh, that was your first one?
That was mine, yeah.
That did not seem like it.
Oh, really? I was sharing a table with like 2 other friends, so we had like a 3-person table on this tiny table.
Wait, who were your other friends?
It was Arandi, so Ninja.
Oh, yes. And then
it was Even. She hasn't done another one since.
Oh, okay.
But it was actually my friends that got me into art market. So I hadn't really thought about it before because I had my online shop. set up.
Oh, your online
already.
shop was set up
Yeah,
first.
so that was set up first, and I didn't really know that there was like an art market scene, to be honest.
Yeah.
And when I like sort of started to see it, I got too intimidated because I was like, oh my gosh, it seems really scary. Like, how do I know if it'll sell or anything?
Yeah.
So I think it was really good to go with friends. It was Even, and she was like, oh, there's this art market coming in Sydney, and I feel like it really fits your style. We should like apply. So we all applied for like a 3-person table, and I was like, oh, like I don't know what was going to sell. I just had my prints and a few stickers. And I definitely didn't bring enough products with me because it ended up being such a busy market. Like it did so well, and I just really loved it. Like the community was so wholesome. And so I was like, I feel like I could keep doing this.
Oh, nice. I think Mellow was actually one of the first markets that started. So it makes sense that you didn't know. Because I was the same. I didn't even know like this existed. I remember setting up, I was like with my friend, like, why have we not gone to one of these before? Because I think Mellow was the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Your table was so good though for your first market. You had like a full table set up.
That was an accident. I think I asked for half a table, but they gave me a full table. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Oh, but thank you. But like, so was yours. Like, I remember because our second Mellow was in Melbourne. That was when we were next to each other, right?
Yeah.
I was like to Mel, I'm like, oh my God, I'm next to this girl. Like, her name's Daisy, and her artwork's so good. Like, I'm looking to compete. Like,
no way.
No one's gonna buy my stuff
Your
because
stuff is so
I have
good.
Lerennis next to me. Everyone's just gonna buy her stuff.
No,
like,
and you did so well. I remember that
thank
market.
you.
Like there was so many people around your art
You
stall.
too. I actually think like your style is very distinctive, like especially at art markets. I would say like every time when I look around, like you're like one of the, whatchamacallit, like your artwork's one of the most technically good.
Oh,
I don't know how else
thank
to
you.
put it.
That's so sweet. That's
Yeah.
really sweet.
I think I'm like, wow, like your technique's really good. Yeah, that's something that I always really admire about your stuff. So
Oh, that means so much coming from you.
yeah, no. What are some of the favorite things about art markets for you, and what are some of the not so favorite things for you about art markets?
I love art markets. I feel like before we went to Mellow, I didn't know if they existed, and then once I knew they existed, I was like, I want to go to all of them. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's like the community is so wholesome. Like all the artists are so lovely to meet them, and it's so lovely to meet people who like really love your art as well.
Yeah.
I've had like a few followers come up to me and be like, oh, I've been following you for ages, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my heart. I had this one girl who got like her nails done to match like my art, like my tote bag. I was like, oh my God, that's the sweetest thing ever. And so I just like really love meeting people who like really appreciate art and are so lovely. So that's definitely my favorite part of it. The not so favorite part is probably the lugging of giant boxes and suitcases around and things. That's like heavy work, you know? You gotta set up. But I guess that's why I have a boyfriend, a fiance.
Oh, fiance! Show everybody the ring. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I think I very appreciate he comes and like carries all the heavy load for me. Otherwise, I gyms. Yeah, right. It's like actually really like tiring to carry so much stuff like to and from the car park and set up.
Yeah. And especially if you like fly interstate as well.
Yeah. There's so much like logistics around flying interstate as well. Like how much can you bring?
The weight, luggage weight.
Yeah, luggage weight.
Yeah. So how many interstate markets did you do this year?
I've only done one this year. So I did Mellow Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then I did Mellow Melbourne last year as well. I think I would like to sort of try maybe a different city, like Brisbane or something, but I'm not too sure. I'll see how it goes.
There's Toasty Art Market next year, beginning of, and I think applications close like end of November.
Oh, okay. Where's that?
Brisbane.
Are you gonna go?
I applied for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if they accept me, then I'll go. In February, I think.
Oh, February.
Yeah.
That's so soon.
I do understand like the risk of going to an interstate market and you don't know if you're going to do well, but then you still have to cover the cost of your flight and your accommodation, right? Like I know Mellow's are always a really safe one. But I think Toasty, like because I've seen it before, I'm like maybe it would be good to fly there. And I've never been to Brisbane before, so it would be cool to like check it out.
Yeah, that would be good.
Do you have any goals for your art and your little business?
Yeah, I think a lot of my goals currently are probably to focus more on painting things that I enjoy and working on my own art skills.
Okay.
Because I feel like this year I had a lot of fun with like the markets and the online stores, but it's definitely a different kind of like thinking when you're thinking about like creating products and marketing and like all these logistics around selling your art. So I think in my upcoming year, I really want to focus on creating new art, like regardless of if it will sell or regardless of like if I can make products out of it, and trying like new things and to improve like my actual technique and like paint new ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm actually trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to learn oil painting. So I just completed my first oil painting last week.
Oh my gosh, wait, do you have any photos?
Oh, yeah, I do.
want to see it.
So I'm gonna.
And you need to send it to me so then your viewers can see it as well.
Okay, it's not that good. It's just like a landscape painting, but I think it's like something I would like to keep trying to do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just like so different to watercolor painting. So I was like, oh, it's cool to get to be creative in like a slightly different way.
Yeah, that is so cool. Is this also self-taught?
I did go to one art lesson. Oh, I went to 2 art lessons in my local area. So I thought oil was a bit overwhelming with like all the different types of materials. So I went and I like asked her a lot of questions around like what mediums to use and stuff. So I think that was good to have that for oil, because I did try to do it myself one time at home, but then I read that like the medium or like the solvent is toxic, and then so I was like, oh, I probably should get someone to tell me like what to do. So yeah, I did go to 2 art lessons.
Okay. Wow, that was after 2 lessons.
I did it mostly at home, to be honest.
That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
What about like future goals? Like, do you have any? Because I know right now you want to really focus on your skills, and next year you really want to focus on drawing things that you enjoy, regardless of whether or not it sells. Do you have any like future long-term goals in your art?
I think so. I think I would like to keep developing my style, and then hopefully I think about what I could do if I could make a career out of it, or if I could take like a career break from my STEM work, like once I finish my PhD, maybe take like a year or so to just focus on being creative, because I feel like I like doing both, but it's so hard to balance like working full time and then doing art. So it would be nice to be able to focus fully on art and creative sides for a bit, but I don't know. It's a bit scary.
It
you know?
is. I get what you mean. It's like, how do I support myself during this time of fully focusing on art? It's okay. You have a supportive partner who can also support you in that as well. That's lovely. Do you have any artists currently that you really look up to, or that you draw inspiration from?
I think I have like a lot of people that I follow on like Instagram who I think are amazing artists. And I sort of go through phases where like I hyperfixate on like one. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, and then I try to like learn some things from them. Currently, I actually have been taking a social media break a little bit, so I don't have anyone that I'm like hyperfixated on social media. So I don't think I have a very good answer for you.
No, that's okay. That was already a really good answer.
Yeah, because I was like, I really like getting inspiration from like Instagram and Pinterest and stuff. But I do think sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, or like it's hard to develop your own style when you're constantly looking at other artists. Like a little bit is good. Like it's great to be inspired by like parts of other artists. But then I found like I had too much social media like bombardment. I was just like scrolling through everyone's art that I couldn't think of any like new ideas for myself.
I get what you mean. It's like you see something, you're like, that's really so good. I can't do anything that's like different.
Yeah, exactly.
To that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's nice to like take a step back from social media and then be like, oh, now I have all these like fresh ideas, and maybe I'll give them a try now.
Yeah. Okay. So was that the main reason why you took a social media break, or was there other reasons as well? Or?
Yeah, I think it was, to take a step back. I think it was because I felt like a little burnt out from doing all the markets this year. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to take a little break from social media art, because I think there's a bit of pressure, or like maybe it's my own pressure, internal pressure, that like I've got to post something that my followers will like if they don't like it, that will make me a bit sad. But I think that can be really counterproductive to art when you're trying to create stuff for yourself and you're not trying to like please other people.
Yeah.
So for me, I really had to be like, oh, I'm just gonna not post anything for a while, and I won't like check up on other people's art too much as well.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. It seems like it's serving you well right now. Yeah. So then where are you drawing your inspirations from currently, if it's not from social media and other people's art?
Well, actually, I am getting inspiration from other people's art in that I'm trying to learn a little bit about like art history. So I bought so I bought like a book on like old paintings and artwork and like old illustrations.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm trying to like learn a little bit through that.
Yeah.
And then drawing like inspiration based on like color palettes that other people have used and things like that.
Yeah.
Or I also get like a lot of inspiration from like the world around us, like taking a walk in nature or like seeing a cute animal or something like that.
Yeah.
Or other like creative but not directly related to art things like reading or doing like hands-on creative work, that kind of thing.
Okay. Can you give me an example of something that you drew inspiration from, like from your surroundings, and you've actually applied for your composition?
Okay. Let me think about this.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. You can drink some water too, by the way.
In terms of drawing inspiration from like the world around me, I think the most obvious example that I can think of recently was I read a book called Circe by Madeline Miller. Yeah, and so that was during like a period of like couldn't really think of any ideas, but then I really liked the way that she like described things in the book, like the way her way with words was just like really amazing. And then so I kind of felt really inspired by that, and then I made a painting based on the book. So it's
heroine?
It's like this one with like the wolves and stuff. So it's like,
that's beautiful.
So it's like the book is about Greek mythology.
Yes.
So it was like kind of based on like Greek statues, and then the way that she described, she's like the daughter of the god of the sun. So then it was like the way that they would describe the sunlight, like really inspired, like the yellows and stuff that I used. And she's like, I can't remember now. Now my memory's so bad. Something to do with like how the oceans or she lives in the forest or something. And then so I drew inspiration from that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I know this year you also had a really, really cool opportunity to design for a really cool jewelry brand. Do you want to tell me more about that? What was the process like? Like, first of all, how did you end up with that opportunity? And what was the whole journey like?
Yeah, so I worked with Skin Studio this year, which is a Melbourne-based jewelry company. So I actually have had jewelry from them for ages. So like one of my friends got me like a necklace from there, and then so ever since then, that was like in uni, like years and years ago, and ever since then I had like followed them on Instagram, and then I saw they did like an anime collection like 2 years back, and they had like an artist go in for like one of their activation days or something, where they had like a free poster or something that the artist had drawn, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. They're like including artists in their like launch of the anime brand, the anime collection, sorry. And then so actually I did like a leap of faith, and I just like emailed the business, like the marketing team or something, and I was like, hey, I'm this artist, I'm based in Australia, here are like all my social media accounts, I really love your jewelry brands, would you ever have like an opportunity to work together, for example, like if you did like another anime collection. And at the time they were like, oh, well, we just did our anime collection, so we probably don't at the moment, but we'll keep you in mind. And then I did send like a follow-up email like a few months later. I was like, hey, just like wondering if there's any opportunities that might come along. And they were then planning to launch another anime collection for the jewelry, and they were like, yes, actually this would be great. So then we got to work together. I got to work on like creating some assets for them. So I had like my stickers, and then I painted the thank you cards for them. And it was such a nice process because I think it like aligned very well with both of our brands. And you know, like I had like anime paintings already that I could show them and stuff like that. So that was really good. And then the founder, her name's Chi, she was like really happy with it. And then she was like, yeah, how about we create like a jewelry collection together?
Ooh.
Which is something that they've done before with like influencers and stuff, I think, and other like artists. But yeah, so she offered that opportunity, and I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to create a jewelry collection with you. And then she left a lot of the creative freedom to me. She was like, oh, like what ideas do you have? And I was like, oh, well, we're both like Asian Australian businesses with like culturally linked in this way. So I was like, oh, I think it would be really cool if we did a mid-autumn or like moon festival collection. And yeah, she really liked that idea. So we developed some designs together, and then it launched in September, I think. Yeah, September this year.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, nice. During that whole journey, like what were some of the big things that you learnt, like collaborating with a jewelry brand?
I think it was a really interesting insight into the jewelry industry.
Yeah.
Because like obviously I don't know that much about it. Like my focus is like art and like art products. So it was really interesting to see like how much that she's got going on. Yeah. Like she's got to plan like all of these jewelry collections quite far in advance because production takes a while, and then so decisions have to be made pretty quickly on like designs. And so for me, I like to like think a long time about like, you know, my designs, got to perfect it and make it right. But with like this, because she had like so many things going on, and you have to put it into production and then like set like marketing dates and like photo shoot dates and stuff. So you had to get it like set really quickly. Yeah. And so that was interesting. It was just like I drew a sketch and then suddenly it was like, okay, let's do this. And it was, and then it came out in real life, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, and just like a lot of work goes into the background of taking like photos and marketing and like building like a brand around a collection drop and things like that. So I thought that was really interesting to be able to work in that sort of area and learn a bit from them. Yeah. Okay. I know like you designed the jewelry, but was there like other things like, because I think you mentioned before that you created like the social media posts and stuff like that. Yeah. What was that like? Yeah, so I like helped to create some assets for them. So like the color scheme for the Moon Festival collection, and then like the little bunnies that I drew for it as well. That was like pretty much in my comfort zone, I think, because it was like just like creating things digitally, just like drawing rabbits. The photos that they took were really cool, and then they sent me the photos, and I got to like doodle on some of them and then use those as like social media posts as well. So yeah. Oh, that sounds so fun. And like you modeled for some of the jewelries, right? What was that like? I just had to take a photo of myself because, you know, got to have like a face behind it. Yeah. I'm not very confident putting my face out on my art page. I haven't done it that much, but I'm trying to lean into it a little bit more now. So I was a bit shy at first, but now I think it's, I'm trying to get more comfortable with it. Okay. Doing things like this. Yeah. You are really beautiful. So I'm sure everyone will want to see more of your beautiful face. So I feel so awkward in front of the camera though. I was so awkward talking. They had they put out an ad where I was like talking in front of the camera about the collection. Yeah. And I didn't realize they were going to use the video as an ad. And then it just kept popping up on my Facebook, like my own face. I was like, oh my gosh, jump scare, scroll away. That's so cool though. Did like your friends and family did they see it? And what was their response like? A few people saw it too, because I guess we're all sort of in the same demographic. Yeah. And they would send me and they're like, hey, it's you. And I was like, oh God, so embarrassing, it's my face. But and what did your parents say? Like, they must be really proud. Yeah, they were like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Outside of art, who are you? And like, what do you have going on outside of your art life and your PhD? Well, I would say that art at PhD does take up a lot of my time, but I do try and keep it well-rounded. So I think like fitness is something that I really enjoy, and like movement. So I play ultimate frisbee, and then I also go to the gym. Sometimes go for runs, not as much as I should. She's so fit. No, I'm trying. You know, got to keep a bit of balance. And then like hanging out with friends and family, going out to nice cafes, finding nice matcha. It's really good. And my family's back in Canberra as well, so I visit them when I can as well.
Oh, okay. So that would usually take like a whole weekend, I'm assuming, right? Because
Yeah, usually.
the drive is like 3. Do you take public transport?
A bit of both, but
Yeah.
yeah, from like my side of Sydney, it takes like 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 4 hours, depending on traffic.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
And like, what's playing frisbee like? How does playing frisbee work?
It's a bit of a niche sport. I picked it up in uni, but it's like a lot of running, I would say. Like you kind of run around the field. You pretty much like any other sport. You have 2 teams. You try and score goals. But I just find it's like a really nice community, and it's nice to be active and think about just like movement in your body rather than like science or like art or something. It's like just working a different part of your brain.
Yeah, okay. And you do this how many times a week?
Currently about 2 times a week.
2 times a week. Okay. Wow, I still don't know how you manage to fit everything in
know.
your life. Like, do you get to see your partner? Like, do you guys go on dates? Like,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we do like have to sacrifice some things. Like, often during like market season, I found like I had to sacrifice like my social life a little bit. Like, I didn't hang out with people as much.
Yeah.
But now that it's like summer holidays, I think I'm trying to do that a bit more, and I'm doing like art a little less.
Yeah, okay. And because you moved from Canberra to here, right? So, like, have you built a social, like, group here, or, like, I guess Frisbee helps?
Yeah, I think I'm lucky to have had, like, a few friends in Sydney already because I was here for, like, a little bit of my uni time and, like, a few years ago. I've just been moving back and forth because my partner lives here. So, yeah, I have a few friends here and there, and then, like, Frisbee community is really nice, and the art community is really nice.
Yes, that's true. She spent her precious Saturday with me today. I feel so honored.
I'm so honored.
You mentioned that, so you used to live in Canberra, but your partner was here. So you guys did long distance.
Yeah, we did.
How did you meet your partner?
I met him through my sister. So my sister's 21st birthday, I came down to Sydney, and then she had like all of her teammates. So my sister plays Frisbee.
Does she live here?
She was here for uni. She went to UNSW.
Yeah.
And then she had like a bunch of the UNSW Frisbee people there, and then that's where I met my partner Don. And then we started dating pretty soon after, and then did like long distance for maybe 5 years, something like that.
Oh my gosh. What was that like?
It was tricky. I think like it was tricky to not be able to see him all of the time.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of sad, especially during COVID. We had like 6 months or something where we didn't see each other at all.
Oh no.
But it wasn't like too bad in uni because I kept such a active life. Like I just had a lot going on. I wasn't doing art at that time, but I used to do, because I had like uni and then work, and then I did like a bunch of volunteering, and then like ultimate Frisbee as well.
She a busy girl.
So, busy girl. And then so I feel like I had a really good like life outside of the relationship, and then I think same for him as well. So we were like doing life but being together and still coming back and messaging each other. But now that we're living in the same city, I'm like, this is so much better.
It's so much nicer.
So much nicer.
And then now you're engaged.
engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
When
much.
is the wedding?
Next year, end of next year. So we're planning that at the same time, which is also why I'm going to do a little less art stuff next year, I think, because wedding planning is a whole process in itself.
Yes.
But you get to be a bit creative about it as well,
That's
which is cool.
Are you going to have like any of your art stuff
I
in
think
your wedding?
I'm going to do the invitations. So I think watercolor works really well for that.
Yes.
So I'll do that, and then maybe I'll do like bits and pieces of the stationery, like the table numbers and the welcome sign.
Oh,
and
that's
things
nice.
like that.
Yeah. So nice that like you can design your own stuff. You don't have to pay for it, and you get full creative like freedom as well over it.
Yeah, and it's like nice to add a bit of personal touches to everything.
Oh, that's lovely. How old's your sister now? Is she older or younger?
Yeah, she's like a year and a half older.
A year and a half older. Oh, what's that like? Are you guys close?
Yeah, she's my maid of honor for my wedding.
Oh, that's so
She's
cute.
good. She's really on the ball with things. Like she organizes things really well.
Yeah.
If you think I live a busy life, I think she lives a busy life. She's like a creative person, and she likes to do things here and there. But she is also like very sporty and active. So she plays like ultimate frisbee for like the Australian team.
Wow.
And then she does like dance and stuff as well.
She dances.
Yeah.
What dance does she do?
She's doing more like Chinese traditional dance with my mum at the moment.
Oh, your mum dances too.
Yeah,
That's so cute.
we love our extracurricular.
Wow.
Like we love having hobbies and all these different things.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was the way that you were brought up, and that's why you are who you are today?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think like I just had too many interests growing up. You know, like I love music, I love like singing, I love art, I love dance.
You sing?
A little bit. Not as much anymore, but I was definitely a bit of a
voice. Sing something right now.
No.
Sing something right now.
I was a bit of a theatre kid in high school.
I can totally imagine you being like an actress or something. Like, you know, one of those people who can sing and dance and act as well.
No, stop. That would be cool though.
Yeah, you totally have the face for it. So.
No, that's so sweet. I feel like no. But thank you.
But no, I mean,
Thank
yeah,
you, that's
obviously
so
if
sweet.
you don't want to, yeah.
No, in another lifetime, I think that would be like a cool thing. I just feel like there's too many things that I want to do in this life, you know?
Yeah, it's like I just want to dissect myself into 5.
Yeah.
And then have each 5 be a fully formed person and then pursue their interests and their hobbies and be really good at it. Yeah. But there's only one of me, so.
Have you heard that like Sylvia Plath Fig Tree quote?
No.
I can't remember it. Sorry, I can't tell you anything.
Wait, what? Let me
Something
Google
about
it.
like a fig tree and then like you have to pick your figs.
Sylvia Fig Tree analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, this one?
Yeah.
I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest, and as I sat here unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet. That's so sad.
Oh, wait, I didn't realize it was so depressing,
Oh
actually.
my gosh.
It's a bit more depressing than I thought it was
Where
going
are
to be.
you at? Are your figs plopping at your feet?
No, that was a bit more depressing than I remembered it being. I only remember the first part where it's like each fig is like so many different lives that you could live.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's how I feel. I just want to live all these different lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like life's pretty long, so maybe I could try a few different figs along the way.
Yes, that's so true. That's a lovely way of putting it. And right now your figs are probably like your art and your career and Dawn and yeah.
Life's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your life story. I had a great time listening to it. I'm sure everyone else would as well.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun.
Yay, I'm glad.